Hey, welcome to Men on Everything. This is our show where we talk about everything that's in the news and then some, and we talk about our lives. I was just talking about my sister. My nephew came back from Macedonia with a cat, and my sister says the cat meows with an accent. She says it don't sound the same.
Meow.
What is that?
I don't know.
Apparently the cat doesn't like water. It wants hot tea twice a day. So there you go. I'm Tony Scott in St. Louis. Mark Clark is in New York City. And Troy Johnson is in the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., where not that long ago, man, John Boehner fought off a Tea Party challenge to be the Speaker of the House. And they say this was the biggest challenge that any speaker has had in 90 years, man. So,
Tea Party,
but he won.
Tea Party 2015. We ain't going nowhere.
So Boehner's holding on to the House Speaker gig, and they're about to take official control of both houses of Congress. And President Obama's like, what the hell? What? This is my last job anyway. What the hell do I care? I'm never going to work again. I mean, he's not saying that, but I mean, come on.
John Boehner says, not over my spray tan hands.
The reporters thought they scooped somebody. They said he was left in tears, but he's always in tears, so they didn't really know.
There was nothing going on there, huh? Well, we'll have to see what happens, man, with this Congress, man. I don't know what the deal's going to be. I don't know what the deal's going to be.
You know what it's going to be, Tony? It's going to be the same thing that we've had. You know, there's just going to be gridlock. That's what most people are saying. The gridlock.
Well, I mean, but where's going to be the gridlock? Because the Democrats won't have the votes to really put up any kind of fight because they don't have the majority. I mean,
well, the
are they going
gridlock will happen at the White House when the veto pin comes out.
Yeah, but then they have enough to override a veto, don't they?
In some cases, they will. But, you know, that's where, you know, they may not be able to push everything through because, you know, you have to have alliances because they're going to be – that's where the concession is supposed to give way. You know, you can pass if you have enough votes, but you're going to need Democratic votes. You're going to have some kind of bipartisan support on some bills. So, you know, you can't just shove things down everybody's throat all the time.
Now, I know they can take away Obamacare, but is it wise to do that at this point? It's been around for about a year now, and lots of people have signed up, myself included. So would it be wise to pull the rug out from all these people who have signed up? Wouldn't that be political suicide for the Republicans?
You know, they're trying to say that, you know, Americans want something else. And, you know, it seems like if they get any traction on this conversation, it would have to be around saying that the bill or the law needs to be improved.
Okay.
I saw something on Meet the Press that was interesting. Democrats and Republicans are going after the part of the bill that, you know, the equipment, medical equipment, the companies, there's a fee that's attached there somewhere that those companies that create the things that we need are getting slammed with a tax.
Right.
And they're trying to repeal that tax because they say it's not fair for industry. But that tax is what's funding a lot of the other programs that are attached with Obamacare or with the you know, the Health Care Act, whatever you want to call it. So you got support though from Democrats and Republicans. If they take that piece apart, then they're going to have to find another way to fund a lot of the bill, which is going to be interesting. The law, I should say.
I was talking to my pharmacist, and he was breaking it down. And he was just breaking it down how gaudily out of control the pharmacy industry is, and how much money they make, and how it's a scam, and he gets paid by it. So
he knows.
These companies are out of control. Anything that tries to get them more money is even a bigger scam. Example he says is people who take a lot of medications. I'm surrounded by people on medication, so I'm really intimate with this. So a medication that, you know, like my father-in-law uses a medication for his Parkinson's. He takes 5 a day.
Mm-hmm.
He takes 10 a day. So you can imagine how, you know, that's a lot of medicine, right? And what'll happen is you'll go and they'll be out, right? And then my pharmacist says, so, you know, if this has ever happened to you, this is what's going on. You go and they're out of the medication, right? Then you come back, and it went from being 2 cents to now 12 cents per pill.
Wow.
They create a false shortage and then come back and just jack the price up like by 1,000%.
And that's legal.
And they just do that all over the place. So the thing that's interesting about, like I say, this conversation, we are so in the dark. You know, like my mother's going through the whole Medicare, Medicaid thing, and having insurance and not having insurance, and all these kind of conversations. And until you go through stuff, you don't even have any idea. So we just pay what we pay, and we watch the politicians talk about it on television, and they present their angle, but they never present the truth about the money that's made on all this. And that's the thing about the Republican Party and the Tea Party that's funny is the Tea Party talks about less government, less this, less that, but at the other end of their party is big business gouging everybody.
Right.
So that's interesting to me, the Tea Party versus the rich Republicans. The Tea Party has their anger should be focused on their party. They got it. They're misguided. You know, the people, most liberals and Democrats are on the side of saying, basically trying to help somebody.
Right.
So it's very interesting how that is kind of, you know, there's a widening gap that's happening, but it's just kind of weird how it's always framed as, or their anger, or their, you know, is focused towards Democrats or the president or the liberal, when you got to look down at big business. That's what's driving pharmaceutical companies, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you're fighting for a company, if you as a regular person is fighting for the rights of a company, give me a freaking break. They'll be okay. They'll be fine, guys.
Yeah.
They're going to live.
They're going to live. So, speaking of living and not living, I don't know how this became a story, but one of the dogs that Michael Vick used to have apparently has died, and now this is a story. So now the anger starts up again on Michael Vick because one of the dogs that he had in his, I don't know, that he owned, one of the fighting dogs, I guess it was, has died. And I guess it died in someone else's care. He doesn't have any dogs, so as far as I know. But I mean, so now this starts up again. It's like just, you know, because it was a few weeks ago where there was great news about Michael Vick that he paid off his creditors and he is now free and clear of everybody that he owed money to when he had, didn't he file for bankruptcy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's free and clear.
And tell the story, Tony. I mean, because I think we all would love to be in this situation. Not only did he pay, he paid off everybody. He filed bankruptcy, which could have washed all of the debt away. But no, he said, I'm going to pay all of these creditors back. And he did it. That's amazing.
He did it. That is amazing. And now the story comes out that one of the old dogs died, and now now his name is Mud again, right? Is that what's going to happen?
Well, I think in these cases, guys, you know, we've been doing this long enough. I think in 2015 we have to probably start having whatever group is represented to make calls. In this case, white people, call your group and tell them the dog thinks a bit much. You know what I'm saying?
It's a little bit much.
Yes, there's issues that pop up that sadly they kind of line up along color lines. The dog issue is this is one. The dog was 7 years old. Damn, you know, he's 21. He probably time for him to go anyway. So white folks, make a call for us. White people, you make your call for us, and then we'll call Birdman and tell him to take care of his tax debt.
Let Lil Wayne out of his contract.
And let Lil Wayne go.
Let him do
what happened? What happened with Birdman was he'd give people gifts and wrap them in money. That'd be the wrapping paper. What happened, man?
You got taxed on that wrapping. See, people don't realize when you wrap money, it's just taxed double. It's a rarely used law by the IRS.
Yeah.
If you
If
you burn money, double tax. If you make it rain in the club, triple tax. See, people don't know. Rappers.
So for every dollar you spend at the pink slip, you got to pay $3, man, for every dollar.
It's a rarely used rule.
Hoe tax.
Hoe tax.
We had poll tax back in the day. Now we got hoe tax.
Hoe tax, right. If you do some stupid behavior with money, like right now, Floyd and Birdman they're by the car limit. The car limit rule will quadruple tax you.
Man.
Buying stupid ass outfits.
He's close to getting another tax if he gets another tattoo.
Yeah. There's a tattoo tax
on his face. There's
face tax.
Yeah,
you're right. Gucci Man, Birdman, and Lil Wayne have had the highest face taxes in Tyson in history.
But he only has one. Mike only has one.
So
in
that's
true.
Fairness, we'll make some black calls and make that stuff
Yeah.
go away.
Oprah Winfrey's catching hell for her comments regarding the lack of leadership behind these demonstrations that have been going on nationwide. There was a video that went up on People's website, People Magazine's website, and in the clip, she praises the depiction of the thoughtfulness and strategy used by Dr. King. This is, of course, in relation to her movie Selma, while voicing the lack of these things in the protests that have taken place against the grand jury's decisions not to indict police officers who killed both Michael Brown and Eric Garner. So, is Oprah right? Is she wrong? Is she out of touch? A lot of people say she's out of touch. She's so far above everybody else that she really can't relate to problems of black folks anymore. Is that true or not true?
No.
I thought the beauty of these protests were the fact that there is no leadership. You know, it's organic. People are voicing their opinion. And you have there's guidance. But I think for the whole, most people are saying, whatever color you are, if they feel inclined to be a part of this movement and express themselves, they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but at some point, Troy, if they do want change, there going to have to be one person that's going to have to speak for them.
Well, I obviously Al Sharpton has created his own monsters in the past.
Yeah.
But during his march, and I'm not saying he speaks for black folks, but I thought it was interesting that he said during the march that, here's what the plan is. The plan is to move from demonstration to pushing an agenda in Congress. You have to take the next step. And we're all responsible for doing that. There's nothing that stops anybody from writing a city council person, your congressman or woman or mayor, and letting them know what you think about what's going on with policing in your community. Mm-hmm. There's a police advisory board in every city, and it's comprised of civilians.
Right.
Go to those meetings and participate if you're concerned. You don't have to have Al Sharpton walk you down to City Hall and tell you, hey, let this guy in.
Right, let him.
You can go on your own.
Yeah.
So in theory and principle, there is no need for a leader if people are inspired enough to want to participate.
I think Oprah, I see both sides. I think people spend too much time criticizing as opposed to just moving forward with the agenda. I think you're right, Tony. It was a different time, and so yes, there was a time where this specific movement had specific leadership, and there's anything wrong with that. Like Troy said, in this social media age, I think it's growth, and I think the key part of whatever it is the next steps, as Troy has always mentioned, from civic duty to doing what you can. So instead of spending time criticizing Oprah, who was answering a question about a specific movie that she made compared to today,
that she's trying to sell tickets for.
Yeah, let's take those next steps, because it is true. I mean, at the end of the day, we watch the movement, and to know the goal of what's going on, it is kind of weird. I mean, I don't know what it is, and I'm almost damn near 50 years old, but I think in my mind, what I would say is what I would do is, if I'm in a Ferguson, I want to vote that system out and get some people that represent my thoughts into some offices. And I think that's basically what has to happen. And like Troy says, if you need somebody to make you understand that and make you do that, then that's the problem. The problem is get off your ass and make some changes that affect your life. If somebody's hitting you upside the head with a club, so Tony's getting hit in the head with a club, and me and Troy are standing over here, and we're not getting hit by a club. But we got to save Tony. Tony's not stopping the person hitting him in the head in the club. Then it's a damn problem.
Put the camera down and help me, man.
Tony got a hard head. He can take 3-4 licks.
I can take a few licks. Now I ain't gonna lie to you, but
Tony,
I see what.
Tony, you're come on, Tony. You're Hispanic. Come on, man. Come on.
Wow. Hey, so a member of the Darren Wilson grand jury, and let's be clear, it was the Darren Wilson grand jury. Some people call it the Michael Brown. It was not the Michael Brown grand. It was the case against Darren Wilson, if I'm not mistaken, because it wasn't about whether to indict Michael Brown. It was whether to indict Darren Wilson. But one of the members of the grand jury is suing for the right to speak publicly, because he is saying that what Bob McCullough is telling people what happened is a mischaracterization of the whole thing. And this, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, this grand jury member, because they're being kept anonymous for now, so I shouldn't say he, it could be a she, but they want the right to be able to speak publicly because there is a lifetime gag order. I didn't even know you could put a lifetime gag order on something like this. Because I know, like, on a regular jury, like, even when O.J. Simpson went through the murder trial, not the civil trial, but the murder trial, jurors spoke afterwards. They were allowed to speak. I didn't know you were not allowed to speak once it was over. I thought that you were free to speak, but I showed you what I know, because I guess you can have a lifetime ban, because there is. And this person is saying that Bob McCullough, the St. Louis County prosecutor, is misrepresenting everything about this thing, and they want to be able to set it straight as to what it was and what they were presented and things like that. I guess my question to you guys is, should this person be allowed to speak, or should the rules not change just because it was a cop killing a Michael Brown?
I think they're going to find a way around that.
Yeah.
I think they're going to find a way that a lifetime gag. I don't know. That does seem strange to me, Tony. It's the first time I'm hearing about it. But I would imagine that there's a way. I mean, look, this part of the conversation has come out already. This person says, "Hey, I got something to say about this," and I know the state of Missouri is supposed to be taking a look at at how McCullough handled this entire situation. So this could be just the first of many shoes that drop in the long term. Somebody's going to end up saying something, and the question is going to be, are they going to be able to say it, or are they going to get a check and then say it? That also is probably going to play into how this works.
And also, I think aren't there some preliminary charges against him also from the bar or something about the whole handling?
Well, there's some accusations. There's nothing that's official yet. I think they may be still looking into that, if they're looking into it at all. But I've said all along, I said it on my podcast and stuff that to me, Bob McCullough was never an advocate for Michael Brown. It always seemed like he was an advocate for Darren Wilson, which is not the way it was supposed to work. It was whether or not to, if you're the prosecutor, you're supposed to prosecute. So your job is, to be quite honest, your job is to present evidence to get this man indicted. And to me, he did everything but that.
Well, the old line that lawyers say all the time is that, a grand jury could prosecute a ham sandwich.
Yeah. Well, indict a ham sandwich, yeah.
Indict a ham sandwich.
Yeah.
Apparently, no ham was served in St. Louis.
I guess not. I guess not. That's just crazy, man. So I was sad when I woke up Sunday morning and found out that Stuart Scott had passed away, man. Stuart Scott was a one-of-a-kind kind of guy. Stuart Scott was the ESPN anchor for 20-plus years who battled cancer 3 different times. And he finally passed away from it. And, I mean, at the end, the last time I saw him on television, he had looked so frail compared to what he looked like, when he was healthy and stuff. And you admire somebody like that, not only for the fight that he put up, but just the kind of man he was. He loved his girls. He loved what he did. He revolutionized sports and sports highlights and things like that. He had mad respect from professional athletes, from the president. I mean, everybody loved him. And I was watching Oberman last night, and he did a piece about Stuart Scott where he said that it was at one point where one of the people in management at ESPN told Stuart Scott that he was talking and saying things that nobody could understand. And he said, Keith Olbermann kind of alluded to the fact that it was the white anchors who said, no, that's cool. What we're doing is whack. he's pretty cool, right? And I never had the chance to meet Stuart Scott. I don't know if you guys did or not, but he just seemed like he was an awesome man in every sense of the word.
I never got an opportunity to meet him. I did see him at some NABJ conventions, and I think what's cool about him is, I think we all we love what we do, and there's that perfect scenario where you love what you do and you actually get paid well for it. I remember, well, I'm still looking for that, but I think it, when you are in the groove of whatever your vocation is, whatever you do in life, and you know that you're doing it to your best of your ability, you're appreciated by the company that you work for, you get paid well for it, or whatever the case may be. There's some people that are in that position and they just become insular and they just hang on to it. Then there are other people who are like, this is a chance for me to give back. This is a chance for me to reach out and touch other people who may have other aspirations, may want my job one day. And for all intents and purposes, that's the kind of person that he's been described as. Chris Carter, who is on ESPN now, after being a former athlete, said, it was Stuart Scott that helped him out a lot and helped him, kind of make that transition from being just an athlete to now a broadcaster. I mean, unfortunately, not everybody in the world is like that, I mean, people that we've worked with are not like that, or you run across a few that are, and he just happened to be one of them, and hats off to him for being that kind of person. And I think that speaks to the fight that he had, as you mentioned, Tony, against cancer. I mean, just seeing, all of us get to that point where we feel down about wherever we are in life. All you need to do is look at that retrospective on him. When he gave that speech at the ESPYs, the video they played prior to that, it's like, what the hell am I complaining about? What's keeping me from getting up and doing my thing? If this guy is ravaged with cancer and had 5 surgeries before he gave an amazing speech, obviously he knew that, the end was near. But, he willed himself to be there. And we don't always do that. It's very inspirational.
I think, like you said, Tony, the fact that he's a peer of ours, and Stan Verrett, whom I did mornings with in Charleston, who's now ESPN LA, it was kind of cool. It's kind of like us, friends. My friendship with him is, close like ours. And to hear, when he first got to ESPN, how Stuart's, that's the obvious question, being an African American anchor and being Stuart Scott. And he said he was cool. He said it was a kind of a thing. You kind of come in, you kind of get pledged a bit, but he was helpful. He was a superstar. He was cool. And then I thought, like you said, Troy, about adversity, or we have a tendency sometimes, we have a pity party. The thing about Stuart Scott's life that I thought was interesting, that whole, people talked about his cross eye or whatever, that eye injury happened. He's playing catch and got in a freak accident, and you lose sight in your eye. I mean, and so I'm sure when those kind of crazy things happen, the first thing you say, why me? And then the same thing, you go for the, the appendix or whatever, and they see a cancerous tumor. Again, why me? But I guess on the flip side of any time in life when we ask the question, why me? And you look at all the good things, and all the from your family to his amazing career to different things, you have to focus on that. So I think that's another opportunity for all of us to, as we struggle. I remember when I filled in New York for the first time, a friend of ours, Brian Carter, was the fill-in guy. And Brian welcomed me there, and I did it just one time, and then months later, Brian died. And Brian Carter of Carter Sanborn, the legendary radio guy. And again, as we've all struggled with losing our gigs and losing this and trying to cope with the new world, whatever, we always have to remember to focus on what we have and not what we don't have. So, I think the legacy of a Stuart Scott will be remembered.
Keith Olbermann spoke yesterday about how not this new incarnation of Fox Sports 1, but after ESPN really started to get really popular, really popular, and somebody had advised the anchors, don't sign your next deal because Fox is coming with their own sports network and they're going to be offering goo gobs of money. And everybody signed their contract but Stuart Scott. And Fox came along and offered him a ridiculous amount of money. But he loved working at ESPN so much that he told them, give me half of what they offer me and I'll stay. And they did, and he stayed. And he stayed there for 21 years. That's amazing. He could have taken the money, but he loved where he was so much that he took half of it to stay where he was, which I would imagine was still a considerable amount of money, but still he could have had double that, but he turned it down to stay where he was. And that's an example of sometimes being happy outweighs, the money. And for him, I mean, it was always obvious anytime he was on camera, even when they did those promos for ESPN, he loved what he did.
Yeah.
It was so obvious that he loved what he did, and there'll never be somebody like him again, man, because he made sports highlights and sports shows, he made them cool.
Yeah. And it's funny because, there was lots of criticism about what he was doing on the air. And, from people who did not, it's not your fault that you don't understand what it is. You need to get out of the way.
Yeah.
I mean,
Get your old ass out the way.
Get your old ass out, because it's the 20th century at the time when he came on board.
Yeah.
And, I think the thing that I loved about him was the fact that, for all of the, all the booyahs and the cooler than the other side of the pillow, there was the fact that he actually was a consummate smooth broadcaster. He knew his stuff, and that could get lost in all of the catchphrases.
Sure.
He was really, obviously one of the best anchors they've ever had.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. So the Celebrity Apprentice is on, and they fired Keshia Knight-Pulliam because she wouldn't call Bill Cosby to ask him for money.
That's classic Donald Trump, ain't it?
For a charity. Now, the first thing I think needs to be pointed out about this is that all this happened before the avalanche against Bill Cosby happened. It's just that it's just now airing, so it makes it seem like this was very recent that this happened. But it happened before the avalanche of all 20-plus women who have accused him of some sort of sexual assault. So it's important, I think, to point that out.
But that's why it's on TV, Tony. I can hear Donald Trump now. Here's the perfect time to put it on the air. They're talking about Bill Cosby. Put the show on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And Keshia says she was not going to call Bill Cosby because she hadn't spoken to him in 5 years. She wasn't going to call him out the blue and ask him for money for a charity. That just didn't make sense to her. Didn't make sense to me either. I mean, I don't watch the show, but when she explained it that way, I understood why she didn't call him. I didn't have no problem with it. So they fired her for that. But what does that do? That gets them more people to pay attention to the show.
Right.
Well, if I play to play the devil's advocate, there are two things. I think, I understand. Believe it or not, I'm not siding with Donald Trump. Oh my God, am I? Sadly, when we play this game of celebrity, the reason you're there is because you're a celebrity, and the reason you're a celebrity is because you were on the Bill Cosby show. So it's like I understand her point of view, but it is kind of true. The reason you're on this show, everybody's on the show of what they did. Former athlete, you're on for reality series. You know what I mean? You're on the show because you got an angle. Sadly, her angle, Keshia Knight-Pulliam's angle, is I used to be on the Cosby Show. So if we're having a competition and we're raising money, we're doing this and doing that, I understand that's the whole purpose. It'll be like with us. If the Big Fat Morning Show, Tony Scott, it's like we that's who we are. Sadly, if we're in a celebrity contest, they're not there because, hey man, yeah, Mark lost weight juicing. Okay, great.
So we can't win the contest unless we call Marva?
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
You got to call Kathy Hughes.
Yeah.
I thought she was on Wendy Williams yesterday, and Tony, I don't know where you're going with this conversation. I'm sure that you might want to interject the fact that she's been asked about Bill Cosby in this whole, ongoing thing.
No, go ahead. Go ahead and talk about that. Yeah.
But she said about that aspect. I'll just kind of say what she said about Bill Cosby on Wendy Williams' show was that's not the person that she knew. That's not the person she knew. She said he was a generous person and wanted to help people and help nurture her career. So that was her part in saying that. But Wendy asked her a question about, she said, there were rumors about you being on the Atlanta Housewives. And, she said, we love it because of, she basically said, we love it because of the drama and the ratchetness. That's what we love, And she said, matter-of-factly, you ain't gonna catch me on that show. That went to, basically, I went to Spelman University. I have a degree in psychology, and I'm not going to be acting a damn fool on television to that degree.
Right.
You create your own paradigm. You do what you want to do. Yes,
Right.
I was on the Cosby Show. Yes, I knew Bill Cosby because you see me on reruns. But she said, the show is over. It was on
Right, been
30
over.
years ago.
Right.
I mean, we're cool. I mean, she said this. She said we don't talk to each other all the time, and I think people just have this assumption that she said it this way. She said, like, we having dinner every week. No, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
So,
but I think, like you said, from a human standpoint, I totally agree. From the purpose of the show, I don't. It's a reality show. It's the biggest, most successful reality show on NBC, whatever the channel. And so if you're on the show, come on.
Are we talking about Celebrity Apprentice or the Real Housewives of Atlanta?
No, yeah, Celebrity Apprentice. I mean, you signed up for that. That's my only beef. This wasn't a meeting. This wasn't Tavis Smiley's conversation about what you're doing, Keshia. Here's the reality of reality shows and these kind of shows. Just like with us, guys, our fans and people who love us care about us. People don't give a damn about you, Keshia Knight-Pulliam. You're Rudy, okay? You're Rudy. That's
Wait a minute now. She's Big Tigger's girl now. Wait a minute now.
I would turn. I'm saying, as celebrities, and we're many celebrities. You gotta put. People care about my wife, Allison Seymour, and what I used to do on the Big Fat Morning Show, and hopefully a few people on our podcast, and when I'm doing it in New York, maybe they really don't care about you. And so I'm just saying, for her, it's kind of the same thing. When you go on that show, that's why you're on the show. You couldn't possibly think that Donald Trump cares about the other things you've done away from the show. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, she said in her defense that she raised money, and there are celebrities that were on her team that didn't raise a dollar, that are probably more in the public eye now in comparison than she was. So, I mean, it's a contest. How much, we used to say all the time, dance, monkey, dance.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but how much dancing do you want to do?
Cosby dancing. If you got the richest man, if you're doing a contest and you're raising funds on a TV show and you're trying to win, that's the other part. If you're on this show for character and to build character, that's one thing. If you're trying to win Celebrity Apprentice, I'll be damned. I would have called Bill Cosby until he picked up the phone and said, "Bill, I need whatever I need," because that's the whole purpose of me being on the show. Unless you're on the show just to build your profile. See, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and that's the only reason really you would be on the show. Is it either to win or just to build your public profile so you can create other opportunities for yourself? Why was she on the show? What was her motivation to be on the show?
Right.
Get a check?
Well,
Definitely. Well, she said, I got my $25,000 for the charity that she had. So maybe that's what it was. She got her money.
She could have got $1 million. No joke.
No, he would have gave her $1 million. So Usher was in the news about apparently fighting a man who apparently insulted his girlfriend, his fiance, Grace Miguel. Apparently this guy was trying to get Usher's attention, and Usher wouldn't give him the time of day. So he decided to take a more aggressive approach and start hurling insults at Usher's girl. Usher posted a picture on Instagram of his eye, his bloodshot in the corner, like he took a left or maybe a right, or maybe both. But then he says that you should see the other guy. And to me, it's like, okay, so why didn't Usher's security handle this, or did he have security? Why wasn't that? Why did he have to get involved in that? He should. That's why you have people to do that. Am I right?
Usher says he wishes he could see the other guy through that bloody ass eye he had. Come on, man.
Oh no. Now, and I was thinking. I talked about this on my podcast. I was like, I think, and I don't know, Usher's got to be what, 31 maybe, something like that.
Oh, I thought older than that.
Is he older than that? He's in his 30s.
Yeah.
I don't think he's past 35. Is he past 35? Nah. Okay, well anyway, he's in his 30s. When I was in my 30s, would I have done the same thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
You knew you in your 30s. You would have killed a man, yes.
But now, at this point in my life, I don't think I would have done that. And I'm not saying Usher was wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about how, we evolve. We get into different stages of our life. And I don't know that I would have jumped in. Now, if somebody would have put their hands on my wife, well, then that's a whole different thing,
Here's
right?
what I want to know, Tony. When did you wake up and say, I'm not going to be no ass no more? Was it like 7 years ago? Was it 5 years ago?
It was. You know what? It was. It was as I started having, my two younger daughters. I mean, my older daughter, she grew up in Texas and I was here and stuff like that, so I didn't get to see her every day. So in a sense, I didn't have to be, I guess in my way of thinking, I didn't have to be the example because she lived, 16 hours away, which was wrong of me to think that. But then as my girls here got a little older and, I just felt like I just needed to become more of an example of the kind of man that they should want in their lives.
Well, I think, Usher is 36, by the way. I think it's a tough call because as the man and as your woman and your lady, you're trying to maintain a certain respect thing. But you're right. Where do you draw the line? If somebody hurls an insult, are you really fighting? Are you just, does your woman say, baby, it's not worth it?
Well, but see, Mark, I know you were taught by your mother that if anybody ever said anything about, your mother told you if anything's ever said anything about me and you get in a fight over it, I'm going to whoop your ass.
Because she says, is it true? No, it's not.
No, it's not.
What if it was true? No. Whoop your ass. And I think if I'm honest, my wife's in the limelight. If I'm out somewhere and somebody says something crazy, there would be a part of me that feels like I have to defend the honor and be like, now, like you said, Tony, at damn near 50, am I really going to be fighting? I normally I have a definitive answer. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I might be scrapping. I don't know.
Well, you know what? To me, if in my understanding,
you St. Louis, no, I would call security.
Is there a hard shoe aspect to this? If you wearing slippery Earls, are you gonna fight? If you got on tennis shoes?
I got on high top knobs, dog. I got on high top knobs.
If there's a brother like his name could be Laquan or Laquacious.
You also have to consider the fact whether or not she's a kisser. Got to consider if she's a good kisser.
Well, loquacious. Oh man, that is
loquacious. I ain't trying to get no fight.
But I mean, to me, if someone puts their hands on your spouse, that's a whole different ballgame,
that's different,
right?
Yeah.
But if someone's just saying, "Man, I know her, man, she a hoe," and stuff like that, I mean, that don't mean anything because, I mean, he don't know her. You know what I'm saying?
It means you live and that you leave, and then you have several gazes to the left.
I'll be like Charlie Wilson in that song "There Goes My Baby." Handle that for me, because there are people there for that. There are people there for that, and he should not have had to have gotten his hands dirty.
And that's your wife.
And he ain't married to her.
And it's your manager. See, it's your manager too. So it's your manager. She understands.
Well,
let's keep it moving. We're in the game.
Yeah. But you know what? She may have told him that. But once a dude crosses that threshold of anger, man, it's hard to pull them back. I mean, as a man, I know that.
Well, I have a feeling again, the guy who said it, Usher thought he could get.
Yeah.
There's guys that say stuff that you think twice about. As a man, you're like, Is my life insurance and my disability insurance paid up this month?
Did I pay my Obamacare note?
Usher is in the gym every day. He's in good shape. He's been dancing with that damn bee on the cereal commercial. So I think he probably felt like, he could probably go ahead and handle that.
Hey, how are people feeling on the East Coast, New York and D.C. about Nellyville, man? Because here in St. Louis, a lot of people I've spoken to really like the example that he sets on the show and stuff like that. Are they feeling the same way on the East Coast, to your knowledge?
I haven't heard a lot of buzz about it, but I understand it's doing really well, though.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a word.
Okay.
People on the East Coast can't understand the family.
No disrespect
Right.
to Nelly, but I ain't heard
Yeah.
nothing.
Well,
Nah,
Nelly's the fact that his turn on Kevin Hart show really has helped his career.
Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree
All
with
those
Yeah.
guys, really, actually.
Is that girlfriend of his? Is she not just a beautiful young lady? Though that is a pretty woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a pretty woman, man. I mean, Ashanti is a nice looking lady too, but I mean, this woman here, I don't even know her name. I'm just not trying to disrespect her, but that's a pretty lady, man. I just happened to catch it one time. I was like, wow, she's a stunner.
She's a beauty. She's a beauty, but the sad part is her nickname is Floyd Mayweather's girlfriend. So that's kind of. I just go by Floyd Mayweather's girlfriend.
Oh,
Ouch.
wow.
Ouch.
Whoa, man.
Hello.
Hello. So this story in Florida, this unnamed father wanted to beat his 12-year-old daughter for fighting with her sister, but he didn't want to get thrown in jail. So he called over the sheriff's office to come and oversee the whooping. And they came, and they saw, and they witnessed, and they were like, "Nice job, Dad," and they left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that reminds me.
So that's all we needed all these years?
Right.
Yeah.
Innovation.
Man.
Oh man.
This is a chance for parents and kids to come together.
I'm gonna call the police. Good.
You're going to get your ass beat. Yeah. I'm coming
Man.
to the cops, Dad. All right. Officer, can I use 2 racetracks or 1?
Well. Well, under Florida law, child abuse is considered unlawful if it results in serious injuries or death. So if you just beat the crap out of your child and don't really hurt them, and I guess hurting them is the key, and it's a matter of interpretation as to which police officer comes over. Nothing may happen to you. It reminds me when I have a cousin, but when he was a teenager, he had stolen his father's van and went joyriding with it. And of course, his father didn't know. He called the police. The police come up and take a report. And then the kid comes up with the van, drives up with the van. He gets out. The father starts yelling at the son. The son starts being very disrespectful. All this in the witness of the police officer. And the police officer told my uncle, if you want to beat his ass, I'll hold him for you.
Damn.
Damn.
I mean, you know, I guess a lot of the laws that we have, no matter what they are, when they involve, you know, a police officer like coming to your house, it's really, at that point, it becomes an interpretation of that police officer's enforcement of the law. If he sees, clearly the law was broken, but if he sees the reason for it and it makes sense to him, maybe they tend to say, you know what, have a nice day.
I have one for you guys. A friend of mine's daughter, and you know that age, 16, wilding out, right?
Yeah.
She's violated a couple, she's violated a few things, getting home when she's supposed to get home and all this kind of stuff. Her dad has her strip off all her clothes.
No.
And whipped her, like
butt naked.
Whipped her butt naked with a switch.
How old is she?
16.
16.
Gentlemen?
Yeah, that bothers me. The only part that bothers me about it, that bothers me that she had to strip naked for that. That she had to get butt ass naked just to catch a whooping at 16. At any age, that just doesn't make any sense to me. That's me. You know, she's wilding out, and a point needs to be made. Okay, I'm not really for whipping kids, but I understand. I'm not saying parents shouldn't whip their kids, but you know, to have a 16-year-old have to strip naked in front of her father and then catch a whooping, I think that's a little bit too much. Is it child abuse? No, I wouldn't say it's child abuse, but that's just too much. What do you think, Troy?
I'm kind of torn. When I think back on my son and disciplining him, I think the last spanking I handed out, he was probably about 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I just changed, my whole thought process changed. I said I need to have more conversations with him about what's going on. I'm going to get in your face. and we're going to talk about and discuss whatever the problems were. For the most part, that worked. Did I have to snatch his ass up a couple of times? Yes, but the whole, the ritual of getting the belt and laying across, all that was gone. So I don't really think that, and the reason why I stopped was because I felt the rage that many parents feel. Mm-hmm. And it transcends you disciplining your child to beating a person's ass, uncontrollably without really understanding what's going on. I'm like, that's the wrong side of I mean, everybody has their own way of doing things. For me, I just didn't think it was going to be the most effective way. I wanted to be able to interact with my child,
right?
And not, and foster a relationship that he may not understand at 6, but he will understand at 26, because they're still your kids when they become adults, and you're setting the tone for them being parents at some point. You're not raising children; you're raising people. You're raising adults at some point. So I think that's a bit excessive. Not the way I would have handled it.
Mark, what about you, man?
Yeah, well, back in the day when I heard this story, my daughters were babies. So yeah, now it's a definite no. Yeah, now, like you said, Troy, I switched up that whole. My daughter's 14. We just conversations, and even the shortcomings and the things that they do wrong and stuff. It's just like beating is definitely not the answer. Having the conversation is the answer. And even I find myself, using different techniques. I'm sorry, I just closed my eyes and answering a question. Troy, we used to work with somebody.
No.
Oh, you too, Tony. And I closed her. Yeah, man. So.
Hey, man, let me tell you, man. No, man. I swear, next time, man, I'm not gonna do that, man. I promise you, man. I admit it was my fault, but next time, it'll be a whole different thing, man. And don't have a conversation with him when he's driving his car.
I find myself like almost 3 different girls, 3 different techniques, including their mother, trying to reach them. Kind of like, instead of beating is almost not. You're trying to figure out the best way to communicate a message and that they can learn from. And then when they do mess up or when they lie to you, I think what I'm also with my kids really focusing on is, you're lying to me. I already have a life. I already live a life. I've made a life for myself. You're trying to make one for yourself. So lying to me or thinking that you're getting over on me is never the case. I'm already here. I'm already doing my thing. You're getting over on yourself. So that's the message I keep trying to share, because I think sometimes parents set up a thing where the parents, like, you're doing this for me, getting good grades or making this happen or participating, doing your very best. Parents, they look like, I don't feel like doing my very best, and they think they're hurting you. I always put the mirror back on them. Dude, you could suck at that, and that would mean that you suck at that.
Right.
I'm nice, so if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But don't do it for me. So that's the thing I'm doing now.
Haven't you found though, Mark? Because Troy doesn't have this problem because he has only one child. But you have 3 daughters. I have 3 daughters. But you have to parent them in different ways because they're different children. I mean, there's some basic things like lights out at a certain time, or there's a curfew, stuff like that. But they're different personalities, and what may work for one may have the total opposite effect for the other. And I think as a parent, that's pretty important that you realize that early on.
Yeah, well, like, you're right. Like my oldest, she's a type A, all grades, very conscious of how she looks. So she takes her mom's advice on anything that comes, even though she has her own opinion. If her mom says, I would do it this way, she's like on it, because she does not want to, she wants to look perfect. My middle child is fighting for that and her own style. So we recently had this thing where I told Allison, let her do it. Allison's like, yeah, but that don't go together. Let her do it. She's trying to make a statement, and she's kind of like going against you, though you know the information. So let her go and fall on her face. If you got on plaids and polka dots and some damn corduroy, go ahead, let her go.
Go out looking like Homie the Clown's little sister. Go ahead on, go on.
Like, and moms have a hard. That's what I realized. Moms have a hard time with that. Moms want their babies to be perfect at all times.
Right.
I'm telling her, sometimes you gotta see. You think she thinks she's going against you, and then you have to ask yourself, Is she going against you? Do you want her to look perfect just so you look perfect? Or do you know what I mean? These are questions that, as parents, you ask yourself sometimes. Like when kids do stuff that embarrass you, are you more embarrassed for yourself or for them?
Did you float that out there, Tony? Or Mark, I mean? Did you float that one out? Oh, is this for you or for her?
You learn that, yes, when you do that, you get in the doghouse real quick.
Yesterday was very cold, and my 15-year-old first day back at school, and my wife gave her like something to put over on her head, and she didn't want to wear it because it would mess up her hair. And my wife looks at me, and I was like, "Hey, man, that's how y'all are wired that way, man." So, and Maria made a great point. She goes, "I'm only going to be outside in the time it takes me to go from the car to inside the school. I'm not going to be outside the rest of the day until it's time to come home. I don't need this." Okay. All right, okay. Now, if you wake up in the middle of the night with an earache,
but my mom would play that one. That's how my mom used to play that thing. Yeah, you put the hat on because if you get a cold, I got to take off work and got to pay for the hospital. And then I was like, "Oh Lord, please, okay." Hat on. It always ended up with her taking off work.
Yeah.
Everything ended with my mother taking off work and spending some extra money that she didn't have. That was awesome.
Yeah. See, my father was like, my mom told us to do something and we didn't want to do it. My father would be like, "I don't remember that being a question." I mean, he was always calm, right? Was that a question? That wasn't a question, was it? Put the hat on, man.
Damn.
It's hard not to find a hat to fit your big ass head anyway. Put the hat on.
I could see Tony walking away from that conversation yesterday, combing his beautiful silver hair, though. Oh well. It is what it is.
It is what it is. What it is. What it is. So, what do you guys have, man? Are you there? I think you reread. Okay, Troy's there. Mark's there. Where's Troy? Troy's coming back. All right. So here we are. So you guys got anything?
I found something, Mark. This may appeal to you, Tony. I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. I know Mark has already started his annual ritual of losing weight.
Sure.
This
same time each year.
What is this? Year 27? Go ahead, Bill. I saw they've come up with a term, and this sounds like something I can do. This sounds like if I was looking for a title, this would work for me. What to call a non-vegetarian who is eating less meat.
Okay.
A reducitarian. A reducitarian. Now, there's a community, a movement, and a website, reducitarian.com, for people who, hey, you need to add more vegetables to your diet. You like meat. You don't want to stop eating it necessarily. And Mark knows this. It's not so much the steaks. I love a steak.
Oh, me too, man.
But the crucible for me is the hamburger. Because it's portable. You can get it. Most of them taste good wherever you go.
Right.
And it works.
And you get it animal style.
But if I'm smart about it, a better decision for me would be to get a turkey burger, which I love just as much as a hamburger. Most of the time when I go out, I'm going to have a turkey burger anyway. So if I cut the beef back and, just rely on poultry and fish and turkey, then and increase my vegetable intake, that's going to be a great step for me. Vegetables is always a problem for me anyway, outside of the ones I really, really, really love.
Yeah.
But so reducitarian might be my new title in 2020.
Well, see, I don't. I've never had a turkey burger. I've never had turkey bacon. It's got to be beef, baby, beef. But I've also realized that, and the thing is gonna get me to stop eating more or cut back on eating meat, red meat, is not that it's unhealthy. I know it's unhealthy for you to eat as much as I do. Is the price. The price of beef is ridiculous, man. Pound of ground round, man, is like $10. What, have they lost their damn minds?
Ass is down, beef is up.
Yeah. So I may be trying that turkey burger pretty soon, man.
Tony, if I made some chili,
I've had turkey chili,
which I always make with turkey. You can't really tell.
No,
in my
you
opinion,
can't.
You can't tell the difference.
You can't.
I think Yeah, the seasoning and a turkey burger really is good. You know.
Now, do y'all eat bacon?
Hell yeah.
Okay, no. The reason why I asked, I had to get the wife to send you her recipe for smoky bacon chili.
Bacon chili. Well,
man,
don't
that
send it
is
to me, Tony. You know I'm on my year.
But you know what? I got it from a nutritionist.
Okay.
Oh, now there you go.
And he says put it, and this is what we do. She makes smoky bacon chili, and she puts it over a baked sweet potato.
That's pretty
man.
That's
man.
So,
man.
Right.
So you can put it over that. You can put it over rice. You can put it over like a plate, not a full plate, but you can put it over some corn chip, like tortilla chips.
Yeah.
And that would be
Damn
good.
it, man. I can't.
All right.
Now let me speak up for the yearly resolution people.
Yes.
And the people who go through different diet plans. I will say
wait a minute, Mark. Tony, just quickly, do you yes or no on resolutions?
No.
Okay, me the same way. So go ahead, Mark.
My resolution is not make a resolution.
I'm with you on that.
But for me, they work. They do work because
Yeah.
I'm kind of a binger. You guys know I'm a binger guy.
Yeah.
A Benji guy. Now, but
your nickname is Benji.
In doing it,
we call him Benji.
In doing it though, you do come. You learn. You know, and so like the people that love you, my wife and different people, they go, why don't you do this? I think you have to come to, when we did our juice fast, Troy, you'll admit, doing it, 60 days of that, you learned a lot about yourself, a lot about your choices. So even then, Troy was like, I'm a meat eater. I love meat, but I respect blah, 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 blah. So you learn that about yourself. With me, I'm trying to balance, like you say, balance the powers, because I've tapped into the power of fruits and vegetables. And then, like you say, it's kind of like balancing. It's like working out. You guys know the same thing. Sometimes I'm like 6 months, I'm working out every day, whatever. Then I fall off. So I'm trying to find the balance. So I like the resolutions because two things. It's a good reset. First 90 days, whatever. It goes right into our anniversary, into my birthday. So the benefits of what I've done are kind of apparent. And then that weather change happens. So you're down into your clothes. You know what I'm saying? And so last year. I was a vegetarian for 6 months, 7 months. I was all the way in. Then I got the job, and I kind of like shook up. You know, these things happen. So that's why.
Well, that's what I was going to say about you, man. Is that I mean, you've always been about resolutions and stuff like that, but your lifestyle now, 5 days there, 2 days here, back to 5 days there. I mean, you're living in two different cities. That's got to be tough, man.
This one in New York, it's easy. So I went to.
Is it really?
I went to Memphis. I went to Springfield and Googled Whole Foods. None.
Your phone laughed at you.
Yeah, it was like Decatur or something. And then I didn't Google it in Memphis because I was on the road. But let me tell you something. If you got, I love everything. So obviously, I went from vegetarian to like this past weekend. I was burgering it up. Let me tell you, if you want some fattening, delicious comfort food, Springfield and Memphis, baby, it is on and popping. And Hardees burgers, man. Are you on Hardees burgers? Hardees, man. Hardees burgers, they serve up some big fat burgers, baby. Yeah,
they're like the size of a car tire.
Wait a minute.
Oh, man.
Velveeta. Got anything on there. And what's funny about small town America is when you go to bigger cities, people who work in fast food restaurants in most cities aren't that good. But in small towns, you're getting your fat delivered up by courtesy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Sir, would you like a shake with that? Hell yeah, let me have a shake. Would you like some other artery clogging, fatty, delicious food? Yes, please.
See, in a smaller town, it's a career.
It's a career.
Well,
and Hardees, they give you these burgers that are the size of a small car tire. And then you know how, like, if you go to other burger places, and I'm not criticizing it, but you get like a bacon burger, they'll put a strip, maybe two on there. No, Hardees.
And then they wrap it up for you. They wrap it up for you like a gift.
Yeah, I mean they're each Hardees store is probably going through 50 pigs a day. You know what I'm saying?
Tony, a lot of people confuse Springfield being the capital of the state of Illinois, the home of Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memories of Springfield is that is the only Hardees buffet that I've ever seen in my life. I don't know. I'm sure, and I bet you it's still there.
Not a Hardees buffet.
Damn Hardy. Mark knows what I'm talking about.
Man, that's
And it's funny. You're right. The fattening, the things that catch you are the burgers.
yeah.
Then in the morning, the biscuits and gravy.
Oh man.
There it is. You know what? It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. And shout out to Hardees. Apparently, this segment brought to you by Hardees.
By Hardees.
I do not like raisins,
Right.
and my mother used to, back in the day. My mom's a nurse, and she'd get off work, and she would love to get a cinnamon raisin biscuit from Hardees and a cup of coffee, and she'd bring it home, and it looked so good with the little glaze on it.
Yeah.
Man, I was like, I hate you because this is a cinnamon raisin biscuit. What am I going to do? So Hardees started making cinnamon biscuits.
Damn,
No raisins.
man.
Yes.
Man.
Woo. That's good eating right there.
So I won't be having Hardees. You know, yesterday started my 103 days of healthy living. So I'll be doing 103. I'll be raw till then. Then I'll order some ribs after that.
Can you get a good veggie burger at Sylvia's, man?
No, but there's a lot of great veggie spots in New York.
Oh, I would imagine.
There's a ton of great spots. You can get juice on every corner.
Yeah,
I got this place by my house. I get a 32-ounce fresh juice for $9, man. I think that price is pretty good. 32 ounces, it's pretty good.
$9?
$9.
That sounds expensive.
But that's a whole meal, Tony. I mean, that's the equivalent of,
okay.
it's the equivalent of a supersized Hardees.
Okay. Well, now that makes sense. Yeah. So, okay. Well, all right. We're going to leave it right there, man. We're at a minute 2. So, thanks so much for watching Men on Everything. We do talk about everything. So, there you go. If you can give us a thumbs up, share it, tell people we have this show. All right. You can visit the website, talking360.com. And we'll have the video posted there along with some past episodes. If you want to check out some more, you can. All right. If you want to be part of Mark's, resolution to eat healthier and stuff like that, where can they reach you at, man?
They can go. I guess the easiest way is to do it on radio1039ny.com. Radio1039ny.com. Go to the Mark Clark page.
Okay. All right. There you go. And of course, Troy is doing news on All News 99.1 and also working at WHUR, Howard University Radio. Right. And so thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week. What happened?
Where are you?
Oh, yeah.
Bobby John.
I'm everywhere, man. I got a podcast. I got a radio show I do on weekends on Old School 95.5 here in St. Louis. You can listen online, or there's actually an Old School 95.5 app. Just search in your app store, Old School 95.5. All right. Also, the podcast is also available along with the tech show, I Tony Tech, Men on Everything. Soon, Men on Scandal will be back. All that's on talking360.com. All right. For Mark Clark and Troy Johnson, I'm Tony Scott. We'll see you next time.